I want to say something very upfront and straightforward. I am not here to tell you when to claim your Social Security benefits. I am here to provide you with information to help you make an informed decision about when is the best time for you to claim your Social Security benefits and how that fits into your overall retirement strategy. Okay. All right. So now, what I found over time is that most people are financially responsible, right? You guys have been saving money, contributing to your retirement accounts, doing things right. But with that said, when it comes to Social Security, things get a little fuzzy. And again, it's because there's so many rules. But the fact that I know you've been planning ahead, you've been saving, the great thing is that you have options. There are many Americans where, unfortunately, because of life circumstances, Social Security benefits tend to be the only form of income they have in retirement. And I believe I'm speaking to a group of people where you have options. Okay. So, first thing we're going to get started with is this big question. What is your primary goal when it comes to claiming your Social Security benefits? And I'm going to break this down into three priorities. We're going to label them one, two, three. And I would love for you to share with me in the chat what your priority is. And so these priorities really should be guiding and shaping the conversation when it comes to how you decide on claiming your benefits. So the first priority is someone who is extremely focused on protecting their surviving spouse. Okay. So this is someone who is married and they know that when they pass away, they want their surviving spouse to be taken care of in the most beneficial way. Okay. And so in this case, the filing decision of the higher earner can truly impact what the surviving spouse will receive. And so if something happens to one spouse while the other is still alive, they have to ask themselves, am I going to have enough income? And that's something that as a couple, you all need to be having a conversation with now, because now you can actually put plans into place. And that's why survivor benefits are absolutely a factor that should be considered because they are so important. So I'm not going to go deeply into the technicalities of, the widow's limit, survivor eligibility timing, and all the nuances involved in that. I want to keep this conversation extremely high level so that we are able to walk away with key concepts that are going to help us make the right decision. All right. So if the higher earner delays, the surviving spouse may be left with a higher income floor. And when planning as a couple, that matters because many households don't see expenses cut in half just because one spouse is not here anymore. The housing costs don't disappear when that spouse is no longer around. Property taxes don't disappear. Insurance doesn't disappear. And so when as a couple you are living on two incomes, two streams of income from two individuals, and one passes and your income changes, the bills you have to pay don't necessarily change in that same manner. Okay. So the second priority when it comes to making a decision around Social Security benefits is the person that says, you know what, I just want to maximize my income. I want to make sure I get the most money I'm entitled to. Okay, so that's number two. And in this case, that person truly wants to make sure they're not leaving any money on the table. And they want to know that no matter what happens in the market, they have a guaranteed income coming into their household. And for many retirees, Social Security benefits is one of the biggest, if not the largest, reliable streams of income that they have. So this is an extremely important question. And waiting until you turn 70 might be something you want to consider because that's when you get the highest Social Security benefit. It's not the solution for everyone, but it is something that you might want to consider. So for a lot of people, there's some emotions that come in these decisions, obviously, right? When that time comes for you, you don't want to have to worry about where money is going to come from on a monthly basis. You want predictable income, and that's a priority for you. Okay, we're going to move on to number 3. The third person is saying, you know what? I do have some retirement accounts in different places. I might have a pension coming in from a previous job. And so for this person, they want to coordinate their Social Security benefits to really maximize the full picture and make sure that they're claiming at the right time, considering the other income they have coming in. Okay. So for this person, they might say something like, I don't just want to make a good Social Security decision. I want to make sure it's the best decision and it encompasses my full retirement picture. So this means they're considering things like their other retirement incomes, like I mentioned before, other potential sources of income, taxes, how their funds are going to be taxed, because we know that money has gone into a 401k or a traditional IRA. It is tax deferred, and so you're going to be paying about 30% when you withdraw. Unlike a Roth IRA, where you put that money in that's been taxed already. And so when it's time for you to withdraw, it's tax free. You might even have some permanent life insurance where you've accumulated cash value and you're able to withdraw that tax free. So there are some tax implications that you definitely want to consider in your strategy around Social Security benefits and your overall retirement picture. And so the age that you file can truly make a difference on all of those fronts. How much income you need for other sources before benefits start, how you experience your retirement years early versus later, and how confident you feel with your overall plan. And here's the key thing to remember. Most people don't just have one priority, and these priorities can overlap. And sometimes you have changes where at one point you had a particular priority, but then 3 years later it changes, right? And that's life, that happens. But when you can break them down one by one and decide what's meaning for you in that moment, that makes all the difference. So let me see from you all. I got a few people here with me during this conversation. What is a priority for you? Is it making sure that your survivor spouse is taken care of? Is it a priority for you that you get the most you can for Social Security benefits? Or are you more concerned with making sure that you plan this out considering your overall retirement strategy? So that's going to be a 1, a 2, or a 3. Drop it in the chat and let me know what you're thinking around that. Okay. So I'm going to transition because I have a powerful tool that I want to share with you. I'm going to share my screen in a minute. That's going to help you make these decisions. And so I mentioned to you that I'm a registered Social Security analyst. And as a Social Security analyst, I have access to an amazing tool, which is called the RSSA Roadmap. And this is the exact tool that I use to help my clients make these decisions. And so most people don't realize that you actually do have options. And in order for you to figure them out and see which one is best for you, you need to look at it in a structured, analyzed way. And so instead of guessing, the roadmap allows us to test different strategies and see which one makes the best sense for you and your family. And there's no particular rule of thumb that we follow. It is truly looking at the numbers and deciding which makes the best sense for you. So the roadmap tool has many features, but I'm only going to highlight 3 of them today. The first feature is that every analysis we look at is based on the foundation of your primary insurance amount. I recently did a video about this in detail on my channel. You can go and take a look at that later. But your full retirement age is connected to your primary insurance amount. And that amount you receive is going to be reduced if you claim before your retirement age, or it's going to be increased if you claim after. And so that number, that PIA, primary insurance amount, is truly the foundation of everything. So the roadmap considers that number. The second thing it does is it allows us to compare different filing options side by side. And this is extremely powerful, especially for couples, when you're considering things like spousal benefits and survivor benefits, and potentially even benefits for qualified children. Okay. And then we also have access to a heat map, which shows us a range of options. And one of the most powerful tools about that is it helps you to truly visualize things. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a visual learner. Sometimes when I'm sitting down, listening to information and just sitting and not really able to see things, it just doesn't always click for me. So it's always good to have some graphs in our lives every now and then. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and we're going to look at a hypothetical scenario of a couple. This is fictitious. It's not a real couple, but I want to show you the power of the tool. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to take a look at this together. Here we go. All right. Give me one sec. Appreciate patience. Thank you kindly. All right. So here is the RSSA roadmap tool. Now, this is my back end portion of it. As a client, this is not what you would see. Okay. So we have hypothetical couple. Their names are Emma Hart and James Hart. Okay. So currently, Emma is 63 years old and James is 62 years old. Right off the bat, we can see when their full retirement age is. It's going to be 67 years old. Okay. So one of the powerful things about this tool is that when you gain access to it, you'll be able to go directly to the Social Security Administration website and download your earnings report. So I want to show you what that looks like in our system. So you're going to download your earnings report and then you're going to upload it. And it's going to show us all of the income you received every year, spelled out, zeros and all. And so for this person, who am I looking at now? I'm looking at Emma. Okay, so for Emma, we can see that Emma worked until 2024, and in 2025, she did not work. Okay. And we can also take a look and see what are the future earning projections. So Emma is projected that she's going to be continue working until age 70. And we just kept her income simple. She's going to have around $100,000 coming into her household. Okay, so that's Emma. We're going to take a look at James as well and see a comparison here. So we have James' earnings as well. And James actually stopped working in 2022. Okay, that was the year he earned around $142,000. And from what I recall, for James, he has no future earnings. So when he stopped working at that age, he was done. Okay, so that's the scenario we're looking at for this couple. Now I'm going to move on and get back to the screen we were at before. Okay, so that is your part. You would have access to create your account and then upload your earnings report. So now let's go to the PIA calculator. Okay, because we said the PIA was the foundation of everything. So first we're looking at Emma. Okay, we're going to take a look at the right side. We're on the right side of the screen. So for Emma, her full retirement age is 67. Now these are her earnings, but they've been indexed, as you can see. We're only looking at the highest 35. So for Emma, she earned a little over $2 million for her highest 35 years of indexed earnings. Her average index monthly earning is $6,050. And then after the Ben Point test, well, it's not really a test. After the Ben Point breakdown was done, her final PIA is $2,647. Okay. So that is Emma's PIA. And we're also looking at some COLA throughout the years as well. Right. So keep that in mind. 2,647 is Emma's PIA. Now we're going to go on to James. Okay. So for James, he earned, after 35 years, highest earnings that have been indexed, a little over $4 million. And his average index monthly earning is a little over $10,000. And his PIA after the Ben Point breakdown is $3,585. So James is the higher earner out of the couple. Okay. And he's also 62. She's 63. Okay. So that is a scenario we're looking at for this couple. And keep in mind, again, James is no longer working. but Emma is planning to continue to work. Okay. So we're going to go back because now I want to take you to that heat map I mentioned to you earlier. If at any point you have questions for me, drop them in the chat. I will answer them once I'm done with this illustration. Okay. So going to our heat map. So we can look at monthly benefits, annual benefits, and lifetime benefits. For the purposes of this conversation, I'm just going to focus on the lifetime benefits. So what this does is it helps you to see how much money we going to get in the household based on when we file, okay? The lighter blue is the lower benefit. The darker blue is the higher benefit. And orange represents the maximum lifetime benefit for this couple. So just as a quick example, we can see if Emma decided to claim at her full retirement age, which is 67, and James decided to claim at his full retirement age, which is 67 as well, and you notice these two numbers are the same because their full retirement age is 67, their lifetime income would be around $1,303,000. Okay. And this is also considering their life expectancy as well, which is a huge component in determining when we look at this analysis. Okay, so that's what the amount we see there if they claim at their full retirement age. And you can also look and see what happens if they claim at 63. Okay, if they both claim at 63, it's going to be around $1,230,000. So the software is explaining to us that the maximum benefit for both of them is to wait until they both turn 70 years old. In that case, the benefit would be $1,380,000. I'm going to click on this so we can see how that number came about. Okay, so we have a visual at the top. Both are going to be claiming at 70 years old. And we can see what their actual retirement benefit is by year. Okay, so that's broken down for Emma and James. And then as you can see, it's projected that James is going to be around until 90 years old. So at that point, Emma's survivor benefit would kick in when she is around 90 years old. Okay, so in that year, we have a switch off there. Okay, so again, this tool is powerful because it takes out the guesswork. Now, I just want to say this. This just happened to be the scenario here where that maximum benefit is 70 and 70 for both. It may not be that case. And I'm going to be doing a couple more analysis on my live. So definitely stay tuned. I want you to pop in and look at the different scenarios because it doesn't always mean wait until 70 to get the highest benefit. Okay. So now, the beautiful thing about this tool is that once you have access to it, you also will receive a report. And the report is exhaustive. It includes all the information that I share with you and more. And you also get lifetime access to it. So if anything changes, you can always go back in and make adjustments. Okay. And so again, the name of this tool is the RSSA Roadmap. And you will have access to it by clicking the link in the comment section. I'm going to show you what the landing page looks for that when you click on that link, because there are two options in order for you to gain access to it. Okay. So here's the landing page. It breaks down who it's for. And here are the two levels that you can gain support from me in this process. The first one is more like a do-it-yourself. Okay. That one is priced at $175. You would get access to the software. You'll be able to have the report and analysis all on your own. You can, break down the information all on your own. I will review your information before unlocking the report just to make sure everything is put in correctly as far as your earnings for, your lifetime earnings. And so once I review everything, then you'll get access to your report. Now, if you decide, Lameka, that just looks like a lot of math and it's making my eyes hurt, and you want my guidance to help you understand what the numbers mean, then that is a different level of support, which is at $495, where you'll get access to the roadmap plus a session with me where we'll break down the numbers together and I'll help you understand what they mean. Okay. So I mentioned earlier that I am a licensed financial professional. And so this comes into play because this is just one component of your retirement plan, right? This is just one component of it. And so you want to be able to be in a position where you can say, you know what? I'm going to decide that I'm actually going to hold off on claiming Social Security benefits because I have around $600,000 saved in my retirement account. I'm going to withdraw that. I know I'm going to be paying taxes on that. Let me do that first, and then I'll have my higher benefit waiting for me when I get older. Or you can say, you know what? I don't have $600,000 saved in my retirement account. I only have around 150. I'm going to need to claim that money sooner than later. We can have a conversation about that. We can also talk about tax implications. And I can also help you as you're trying to figure out when you're going to do that, what to do to protect your retirement income. So many people just leave it sitting in their 401k. And I'm like, when you're in your 60s and 50 years old, why would you do that? Why would you leave 100% of your nest egg still exposed in the stock market? There are better options. And those options are ones that I share with my clients when we meet one on one. So, I'm pretty much done with my presentation. And I see, Gabby, you listed in the chat number 3 that is important to you as far as you wanted to make sure that you coordinate your Social Security strategy with your full retirement picture. So thank you so much for sharing that information.